in this journey, and let us ensure that we do it with great integrity. This room, I don't have to tell you, you know, is filled with leaders from a multitude of organizations that work every day to reduce discrimination and racism and to celebrate diversity. Let us stand fast in our high principles so that we be judged as leaders of integrity. I would first like to add my congratulations to the 2012 Urban Alliance Award recipients who have been honored here tonight. There'll be more on them later, but congratulations. I would also like, as the president did, to pay a tribute to Charles Roach, who will be receiving the tribute award tonight. Like many of you, I knew Charles. The Roach family and my family were very close and go back many years. We're all from Trinidad somehow. And when he and I had the discussions about many different things, we didn't see eye to eye, but that's because we're both lawyers. Right, Julian? Thanks. Charles was always there for me, though. He was for so many people in this room. His advocacy for civilian oversight of police was outstanding, and that legacy remains and today intersects with the work that I do. Charles, in my opinion, was a man of true integrity. I would also like to take a moment to recognize Link Alexander. You all know about him. I also knew Link quite well. I worked in Hamilton as a young man, and I intersected and met a lot with Link and had the pleasure of socializing with him and his wife Yvonne and his then law partners. He helped me see that one could work to improve things generally in the legal and social context. He showed me the benefits of working with and for diverse communities. Yesterday I went to Hamilton to pay my respects, and there was a long lineup of people at City Hall, and I know that continues today and through to tomorrow. While my personal career pales in comparison to Charles Roach, Lincoln Alexander, I have had a part first, and it's due in part to these leaders that have gone before me and continue to be with me, and some are in this room. And a lot of those people have encouraged me to do what I do with a lot of integrity because they possess a lot of integrity. More than 20 years ago, I was part of a group of law students who created the Black Law Students Association of Canada. We wanted a way to connect with other Black law students and have a voice in the legal profession. We also wanted to make a path and make it easier for future Black law students, as that path was made easier for us by those who went before. And again, I will name Charles Roach and Lincoln Alexander and many others. This year, the Black Law Students Association celebrates its 21st anniversary. Totally amazing. In 1994, I was given the opportunity to set up the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario with many people, some of whom in this room, from an ad hoc adjudicated body. There's a need to regularize the human rights system in Ontario at that time. Being appointed chair was a great opportunity for me. Grace Edward, I didn't get a chance to see her here tonight, but you were there. Shri, you were there. Shri, you were there when as a young guy I was given an opportunity to work with George Thompson, the then Attorney General of Ontario, the implementation committee to set up the Commission on Systemic Racism. From that, Shri, I learned a lot of things from you. I learned patience, and I learned integrity, and I learned how smooth an operator you were. I introduced mediation in the Human Rights Tribunal because of issues that the Human Rights Act dealt with, and also many of the people who encountered human rights discrimination came from diverse communities. We wanted to ensure, as much as possible, that they had some capacity to navigate the relatively complex process, given that most of them would not have had the ability to retain lawyers. And mediation, I thought, was one way to try to level that playing field. Similarly, the need for the African Canadian Legal Clinic was quite apparent, given that out of the 70 legal aid clinics that existed at the time, there were few, if any, that devoted any of the resources to deal with legal and social issues facing members of visible, diverse communities. I was a founding member The ACLC has again raised the issue of carding, racial profiling in policing. This is an important issue. I see from where I sit in my new job. There was a time not long ago when Toronto Police vehemently denied racial bias existed. Now, police leaders acknowledge that racial profiling is a problem. The Toronto Police Service itself has acknowledged that racial profiling must be dealt with. I see Barbara Hall here, and I know that TPS has entered into a partnership with the Ontario Human Rights Commission to identify human rights issues and to deal and help them design plans to deal with those issues. I can just a quote from Chief Blake said, "There is nothing more coercive to our relationship with diverse communities than the perception that police are acting with a bias. If we lose our trust, we lose our moral authority and legal authority to police the city." He's right by uttering those words. Back in the 70s and in the 80s, Charles Roach saw civilian oversight of police as one way to ensure that there were checks and balances in place for those who would wield powers in upholding the laws. Police officers are granted a lot of powers and a lot of authority in maintaining peace and order. We need the police just as much as the police need us. When individual officers, though, abuse that power and authority, or are perceived to abuse that power and authority, it is the betrayal of the public's trust in police. When the public believes that police cannot be trusted, then respect for the police and the laws they enforce diminishes. In the past, some police officers regarded the idea of civilian oversight as a provocation and worked to undermine and discredit civilian oversight organizations for various reasons, including the belief that the investigations by civilian oversight agencies violated an officer's rights as a citizen and compromised the management responsibility of chiefs of police. I think now they understand that civilian oversight is in part the fabric of the justice system, that civilian oversight in our society is very important, and in my opinion, there's no question about that, and I know that the public wants that. Civilian oversight helps to promote and maintain confidence in the system, and as I said earlier, Charles Roach, he played an important role in creating civilian oversight in Toronto in regards to the Toronto Police Service. He and others from the Black Action Defense Committee fought for civilian control of policing. This actions contributed to the establishment of the Special Investigation Unit, and my colleague Ian Scott is in the back. And because the SIU is a cousin to my agency, mine's better. The Office of the Independent Police Review Director. That brings me to my other first, which is being appointed the Independent Police Director of Ontario. As the first person in my office, I had to set it up as a civilian oversight agency responsible for managing all public complaints against police in Ontario, all 27,000 of them. Since we opened in 2009, we have received about 10,800 complaints. That's about 3,500 a year. About half of them are screened and investigated. And we send a lot of them to the police to investigate. But because of resources, I do have investigators, but not enough to investigate that many complaints. But I continue to have oversight by virtue of the legislation. Complaints, the investigation from the start to finish falls under my jurisdiction. And I have a lot of authority and a lot of powers in regards to the directions I can give police and police chief in regards to particular complaints. Aside from dealing with individual complaints, I can order audits on police services and police services boards in regards to how complaints are administered. I can even call a systemic review when I feel there's a need to do so. And in this regard, you may be familiar with the systemic review my office undertook regarding policing of the G20 summit in 2012. Thank you. That review spoke of people's right to protest and the right of police to police those protests. The review found wrongdoing by police in a number of instances and a number of areas, and I offer instead is to be neutral, is to be unbiased, is to be fair to the police and fair to the public. It is to gain the trust and confidence of the public in policing and in the police. And I set that as a mandate when I took this job, that I would do it in a very conciliatory and collaborative manner with a lot of communication. My office, my team, refer to it as my 3 C's. And those are the C's that guide me in my job and how I carry out my job. I've spent years dedicating myself to helping to build strong legal systems and to encourage respect, to encourage dignity, to encourage fairness, to encourage equality. I have looked at the inspirations of the struggle of African Canadians and of African Americans and learned from visible, diverse communities who went before me. One person who has always inspired me since I was a boy, and Julian, that was just 10 years ago, is a person about this number, 46664. Some of you may not recognize the number, but that number belongs to Nelson Mandela, and that's the number he wore when he was in Robben Island in South Africa in prison for 27 years. He struggled against oppression, injustice, racism in South Africa. He refused to compromise his principles, even at the cost of his own personal freedom. Those 27 years he spent, he became a beacon of hope to his own people, to people throughout the world. And one of those people happens to be me. Now, if that isn't operating and carrying out your life with integrity, nothing else is. His demonstration of strength and courage in the face of adversity was incredible. Nelson Mandela was a hero to me, inspired me. I was lucky too, though. I had some great opportunities put in front of me, and I had great people surrounding me. And I continue to work to gain their trust and to do so with integrity. But let me tell you this, the work cannot stop. The challenge I've set for myself and I've set for you is to examine the issue of accountability, to determine how it can be made better for civilian oversight, and my office in particular. Civilian oversight agencies being accountable means being responsible for its actions and for its decisions. It means being able to show that those actions and decisions that we take are absolutely necessary. Traditionally, accountability is meant having a level of transparency, but that kind of transparency, to be quite honest, is only about sharing the information I believe you need to see. So that has been bothering me for about 3 years. So now, in my opinion, I want us to move from this type of transparency that we all talk about as it really exists, it doesn't really exist in totality, to something called openness. Openness means to me creating more engagement with the public, more collaborative relationships with stakeholders, more collaborative relationships with police, and relationships that are based on integrity. Integrity should be part of the work each and every one of us carry out daily. It should be part of police work, from the constable on the street to the chief of police of any police service. Integrity should be non-negotiable. Edmund Burke, 18th century British parliamentarian,